Hey, and welcome back to another episode. I hope everyone is having a great month and a great week and a great year. You know, as we approach the Christmas season and the New Year season, we always have done an episode about goals and planning and why it's important and how to set goals and all that stuff. And I want to do the same thing again this year because I still think it's incredibly important to do that. However, I'm going to take a slightly different approach to it than I have in the past because I already know that starting in September, you've already started looking at your quarter one goals for January, February, and March. And you've already looked at your annual goals and how your quarterly goals will fit into your annual goals. So we're not going to get into all that. But we are going to talk about today is about why consistency and discipline are incredibly important for you to be able to achieve your goals next year, and how executing plans are great, but they're going to come with obstacles. They're going to come with setbacks. You're going to go into seasons where things aren't really working so well for you. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about goal planning and why consistency and discipline trumps your motivation any day of the week, and why it's more important than setting a very robust plan. This is Tim Staten with Tim Stating the Obvious. What is this podcast about? It's simple. You are entitled to great leadership everywhere you go, whether it's to church, whether it's to work, whether it's at your house, you are entitled to great leadership. And so in this podcast, we take leadership principles and theories and turn them into everyday, relatable, and usable advice.
And a quick disclaimer, this show, process, or service by trademark manufacturer, or otherwise does not necessarily constitute an implied endorsement of anyone that I employed by or favors them in representation. The views are expressed here in my show are my own expressed and do not necessarily state or reflect those of any employer.
So when we talk about consistency and discipline, what we're really talking about is, am I doing the things every single day that I need to do in order to achieve my goals? Am I getting after the right things to achieve success as I have defined them, or you have defined them with your goals and your goal planning and everything else? So when you make consistent gains and you are disciplined, doing the things even when you don't want to do them, it helps you build momentum. Consistency creates small, steady progress that compounds over time. And each action that we do builds on the last one, making tasks easier and more manageable. So think about climbing a ladder, or you're on the stair stepper at the gym, right? Each small step at a time builds towards success, builds towards climbing that ladder one rung at a time. And I'm reminded of the picture that you've probably seen on any type of social media where there's like one guy climbing a small little mat ladder, doing small consistent steps, achieving his goals, and another guy trying to make large leaps on the ladder and not being consistent. Well, that guy's going to get burned out a lot quicker than the person who is making small consistent strides every single day to get ahead. He may not do it faster, but he's going to be more apt to finish because he's not going to get burnt out along the way. He's making small, consistent steps. And discipline ensures that you show up even on days when motivation fails you. And this is why, I did an episode a long time ago about the difference between discipline and motivation, right? So you may be super motivated right now to tackle your goals next year. You're going to say, I'm going to get it. I'm going to knock my goals out of the park. 30 days in, maybe 45, you're going to start to wane. You're going to start to lose motivation because you're not seeing the goals as quickly as you want to. And this is where discipline shows up. This is where delayed gratification takes place. And if you're not teaching anybody else delayed gratification, teach yourself that, because when you delay gratification and you're consistent and you're disciplined, your reward is greater. So discipline means I'm showing up every day, ready to go like it's my last day. I am here, I am in it, I'm doing it. And that helps you be more consistent as well. The second thing that consistency and discipline does for us over time is it helps us develop healthy habits and routines. So repeated actions lead to a habit, and a habit shapes our future. If you want to know what you are today, people can tell by what you've done in the past. There's nothing that you can do today to change who you are right now in the moment. The change happens what you're doing right now in the moment for the future, not today. So If your goal is to lose weight, like majority of the people's goals are going into next year, well, you have to start now with proper nutrition and exercise, and you have to be consistent with it, and you have to be disciplined. You have to do it every single day. If your goal is to get into working out, you might say, I'm going to walk every day for 30 minutes, no matter what, or I'm going to get 10,000 steps in every day, no matter what. That is helping you develop a habit and a routine getting into fitness. So your schedule may be so busy, so you might say to yourself, the only way that I can do this is that if I get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, walk for 30 minutes to an hour, get in my 5,000 steps in the morning. Then in the evening, do another 30 minutes and walk and get another 5,000 steps until I hit 10,000. And you're going to find out, you're going to adjust your schedule in order to be consistent to develop a routine. And when you do that over time, it becomes a rhythm. It becomes a life rhythm that you just build into your day, and you do it because you're on autopilot. It becomes a routine. Consistency and discipline, getting up and doing it even when you don't want to do it. The third thing that it does is it helps reduce decision fatigue, right? When you have a disciplined approach to things, you eliminate the need to constantly decide whether or not you're going to act. And I want you to think about that statement for a minute. Whether to decide or not, whether to act or not is a choice. But when you have a disciplined approach and you've developed your routine and you've developed your habits, there's no need to decide because you've already decided. I'm going to do this. It's built into my schedule. I'm consistent. I'm disciplined. I'm going to do it even when I don't want to do it because now it's a part of my routine. If I don't do this thing, my day is going to be off. My day is going to feel weird because I'm not doing the things that I normally do. And if you tell yourself, well, I'm not a routine person. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're routined in your unroutineness. Just think about what you do every single day. I guarantee you do it in the exact same way, the exact same order, the exact same every single day. Because even if you think you don't, you are. And then when you pay attention to it, you're going to realize you're more routined than you think you are. You've just been lying to yourself and convincing yourself that you're more routined when you're really not. And then when you add in that consistency, it automates your commitments, freeing up your mental energy on more critical matters, right? So if I have a habit, and it's one thing that I just started to implement because I don't want to make unnecessary, difficult decisions. One thing is knowing what to wear. So I'm used to wearing a uniform for the last 20 years. Every day I go to work. Soon, I'm not going to be putting on a uniform when I go to work every single day. And I'm going to have to decide, what am I going to wear? My options are unlimited. I could wear pretty much whatever I want in a professional setting, right? So I decided right now I have 10 black t-shirts. I'm going to wear black t-shirts every single day because it eliminates what am I going to wear. I'm probably going to wear a black shoe or a brown shoe. If I don't wear a black shirt, I'm going to wear a white shirt. Why? Because it eliminates fatigue. I know what I'm already going to do. I can free up my decisions on other things. That's why, nurses in the hospital and doctors in the hospital, what do they wear? They wear scrubs. They don't have to worry about what am I going to wear? Am I going to look nice? Am I going to look this? No, you wear blue or whatever color scrub on team that you're on. You do your hair, your makeup, or you just put on a little bit of cologne. You put on your watch and you walk to work. You're not using mental energy on what am I going to wear. You're not going to make unnecessary decisions because it becomes a habit, a routine. I'm doing it anyway. And the fourth thing that it allows us to do is overcome our obstacles and setbacks. Discipline keeps you on track when challenges arise. And consistency ensures that even when you face failures, you maintain forward momentum instead of starting over. And I want you to think about how this is going to take place in a mental mind shift, like almost a paradigm shift in your mind, where failures become stepping stones when discipline helps you persist in that. It's for the long game that matters, not perfection. And I'm reminded of this when my son did his first Lego League championship thing with robotics. He had some type of competition and everyone was building these robots, and they had a practice room, and they were working on building this robot and programming this robot for 2 months. Then they test it out. Then they have a practice room. So when you test it out in the competition, you don't do as well as you think you can. You go to the practice room and reprogram and remodel and redo and refake and make modification and fixes. Why? Because in robotics And in engineering, it's about failing fast and having a model to start with that work and get you to the next step. So I need to move forward an inch on a robot. So I'm going to build a robot. Does it move forward? Yes. Okay. Did it move forward 1 inch? Yes. Okay, great. I need to move a robot that can move forward 1 inch and raise its arm up. Does it do that? Yes, it moves forward, but it doesn't move up. Well, how far up? Like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so we need to figure out what it is and adjust it. The quicker you get to failure to find out, can I do this thing? No. Okay, what do I need to do to fix it? What do I need to do to get back to it? And then you do that. And it helps you overcome those obstacles. It helps you keep your mindset on the long run instead of the short term. And the fifth thing that helps us do is shape our identity. It helps us maintain who we are. When you consistently work towards your goals, you begin to see yourself as someone who is a follow-through, someone who gets things done. And discipline reinforces this self-perception of yourself, fostering more confidence, and you become more resilient. Because, even if I do fail, I'm still going to overcome it. I'm still going to get better. I'm still going to do better. I am a confident and persistent person, and we're going to get this done. And that's how it helps shape your identity, when you consistently get after the things that you want to do. And I don't know about you, but me, I love to be around people who have follow through, who are consistent and get things done. I love to be around people who, even though they might have a temporary setback, they say, hey, don't worry, I got it. We're going to figure this out. We're going to move forward. When we think about consistency, discipline, and our goals this year, I really want you to put these 5 principles into action. I want you to really think about these things. And here's a practical tip to help you stay consistent, to help you stay discipline. The first thing is we got to set clear goals. We've talked about this before. Set smarter goals. Make sure they're measurable. Make sure they're actionable. Make sure you can actually do them. Create a schedule. When are you going to do it? How are you going to implement this into your time frame? How are you going to implement this into your day? What 3 things are you going to do every single day that gets you after your 3 weekly goals, which gets after your 3 quarterly, monthly goals, 3 quarterly goals, and so on and so on. Track your progress. How are you going to track it? Is it a checklist? Is it a whiteboard? You got to have some type of tracking mechanism in order to make sure you're being consistent and disciplined. Be accountable. Share your goals with other people and have them share their goals with you. And say, hey, if I'm doing things that aren't congruent with what I'm saying I'm doing, please help me. Challenge me. Hold me accountable to do the things that I say I'm going to do. If I'm trying to blow off something because I don't want to do it, remind that person. Hey, remember you said you wanted to do this. You said you wanted me to hold you accountable. You're being undisciplined right now. You need to be more disciplined. You need to get back at it. You need to be consistent. And then you need to focus on your why. Why did you do the thing that you say you were going to do to begin with? If it's a health and fitness journey, maybe you just want to be more healthy so you can live longer to see your great grandkids or your grandkids. Or maybe you could see your kid graduate college. I want to see my great grandchildren graduate college. That's how old I want to live, as long as I'm of value and of purpose to people, right? So I want to be as healthy as I can so I can see my great grandchildren graduate from college. So I just want to let that marinate. Think about why you started. Think about becoming the person that you say you're going to be this year, with focusing on consistency and discipline. And I just want to leave this final thought. Consistency and discipline are like planting seeds. You have to plant them in fertile soil. It's not going to grow overnight. You got to get rid of all the weeds and all the things that are going to get in the way in order to stifle that seed from growing. You're going to have to water it. You're going to have to nurture it, and then it bloom. It's going to take time. It's going to take dedication. It's not going to happen overnight. But once you start to see the first sprout, once you start to see the first fruits of your labor, and you're seeing how consistency and discipline is going to get you to where you need to go, everything else is going to fall into place. So just want to leave with that final thought. As always, thank you for stopping by and listening to this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Before we go, I'd like to ask a favor of you, if I could. Could you please share this episode with the 1 or 2 people who might like this topic? If you haven't followed or subscribed on the platform that you're listening to this on, please hit all the bells, the icons, and the whistles so that way you know when we post another episode. I don't want to waste your time. If you got some value out of this episode, please leave a review or a comment so we can help spread the show with people who might not have found our show but are interested in the topics that we talk about. Again, thanks for stopping by. I'm Tim Staten.